Thank you. And we're live. Good morning, people. It's time for PreMarket PulseScan with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports that we place in your hand each and every trading day. Hopefully, everyone had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. I celebrated my birthday last week and all weekend long, and it was fun hanging and chilling with the family. It was awesome. But now we got some things to talk about this morning because every time the cat is away, the mice will play. And boy, did they play. We'll get into all of that in a second. But first, let's take a look at these markets. All right. So what up to everybody in the live chat? Smash that like button. Good to see you back, Thomas and Mark. What up? All right. So as you take a look here at these Dow futures, we're up 208 points at 27,773. The NASDAQ 100 is up 92 and 3/4 points at 11,326. The E-mini S&P 500 is up 22.5 points at 3361 and 3/4. And the Russell My Hustle is up 18 points at 1552 even. Bitcoin Futures Composite Index is up 235 at 10,785. And that gas is up a whopping, get ready for this, 17 cents, trading at $2.60. Ouch. Crude oil up $1.90. All right, so it is taking back what it lost last week, up $1.92 right now, trading at $38.97 a barrel. Long bond is getting smoked, down 1 full point in 5/30 seconds, trading at 174 and 24/30 seconds. Gold futures up $5.60, trading at 1913.30. And silver is up 7 cents, trading at $24.10 an ounce. U.S. dollar index down 33 pips at 93.50. Euro dollar up 57 pips at 117.87. Pound sterling up 41 at 129.80. Aussie is up 23 pips at 71.84. Canadian dollar down 41 at 132.65. Euro yen up 73 at 124.19. Dollar yen up 17, trading at 105.55. And the Kiwi is up 2 pips at 66.44. Soybeans up a point at 10.21 3/4. Corn up a half a point at 3.80 1/4, and wheat up 7 3/4 points at 5.81 even. And that is how the markets are shaping up on this beautiful Monday morning. Now here's the market news you need to know about. So global stocks are rising on speculation of Trump's health is improving. President Donald Trump is expected to leave the hospital as soon as Monday, prompting a rally in U.S. futures and a bounce back in the oil price, which is what you are seeing. Nancy Pelosi says progress is being made on more U.S. stimulus and tells airlines don't fire people. You know that relief is on the way, the White House speaker told executives in the U.S. airline industry. Let me get this straight. Corporations are seeking corporate welfare now from the federal government. They are looking for bailouts and handouts. And you know what's really messed up is that if it wasn't for the pandemic, that it would be exposed that the airlines were failing anyway, as they always do. Why do you think they keep going through bankruptcy? It's like a carousel. And it never stops. It just doesn't stop. Let's see what we got here. What else we got? Let's see. Okay. Investors must brace for a turbulent Rocktober in the stock market, but they should hold on for a strong fourth quarter finish. A senior Wall Street strategist says the third quarter is usually weak, But when it is really strong, like it was in 2020, this says the rally isn't over yet. That's what Ryan Dietrich says. We'll see about that. A COVID-19 vaccine will trigger a stock market rotation, says Goldman Sachs. Let's see. Big data company Planter is now officially a public company, and it's one of nearly a dozen major tech firms that can trace its roots to PayPal. The PayPal Mafia, as its early employees came to be known, were directly responsible for Tesla, SpaceX, LinkedIn, Yelp, and more. Global stocks are up. Germany's DAX rose 0.6%. Britain's FTSE 100 rose 0.6%. And the Euro Stoxx 50 rose 0.5%. In Asia, markets in China were closed for a holiday. Hong Kong's Hang Seng rose 1.3%. And Japan's Nikkei rose 1.2% at the close. In the U.S., futures are averaging between 0.5 and 0.9% up, respectively. On the data docket, we got the IHS Markets Purchasing Managers Index scheduled for release, and both the U.S. 3-month and 6-month bill auctions are due. All right, so that's a look at what's going on in the newsy news as far as what's going on around the world. But we need to talk about a few things here. Now, I touched on it, but now we're going to really talk about it. All right, so there are things that no one really wants to talk about because, of course, we live in the United States where everything is censored, especially if it goes against what people are being manipulated to believe. And that doesn't stop when it comes to predictive programming and things of that nature. Now, I've been told you guys that the connectivity, the Borg, was being put together. I told you that years ago. People thought I was crazy, didn't want to believe it. They were like, oh, these conspiracy theories, really? Well, did you know that the police are now requesting data from people's smart speakers at an alarming rate? Yeah, remember all of us conspiracy theories who told you that I wasn't going to have an Echo or an Alexa device in my home because those gadgets were spying on me? Well, guess what? We were right. And it's not even up for debate anymore. It's already been exposed as factual. Now, all those individuals who mocked us, they're not laughing anymore. Okay? Nearly 10 years ago, many people, myself included, were warning you about smart technology and the Internet of Things being developed for surveillance and manipulation purposes. All right? Despite many companies' claims of greater convenience. All right? Now, these devices and technologies are ubiquitous and are being used to soak up data mining, like Bitcoin mining, data mining, private and personal conversations, interactions, and even movement like GPS tracking. All of this openly discussed here on social media outlets. Okay? But now we got to talk about what's really happening behind the scenes. Well, here's some things that you need to be aware of. In July of 2019, police rushed the home of a 32-year-old Savannah Galva. Galva's friend, also in the home, called 911 claiming she overheard a violent argument between Galva and her boyfriend, a 43-year-old Adam Crespo. The two lived together in Hannibal Beach, Florida, about 20 miles from Miami. When officers arrived, Galva was dead, impaled through her chest by the 12-inch blade at the sharp end of a bedpost. Police believe Crespo tried to drag Galva from their bed. She held on to the bedpost to resist, but the sharp end snapped, somehow killing her. Police charged Crespo with second-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty and was released on a $65,000 bail awaiting trial. In the months since the arrest, Crespo's lawyer has presented a surprising piece of evidence in his defense: recordings from a pair of Amazon Echo speakers. I had a lot of interviews where people said, "Oh, are you aware that this could be the first time Alexa recordings are going to be used to convict somebody of murder?" Says Crespo O'Toole, Crespo's lawyer. And I actually thought of it the opposite way, that this could be the first time an Amazon Alexa recording is used to exonerate somebody and show that they are innocent. Now, when police and prosecutors collect smart home or smart speaker data, it's typically used as evidence against suspects. But the Hallandale Beach Police Department filed a subpoena for Crespo's speakers, as they may have picked up audio of the argument Galva's friend overheard. The incident shows the growing role of smart home devices and wearables in police investigations. In 2016, police in Bentonville, Arkansas requested Amazon Echo data in connection with the man's death, believed to be the first such request. Amazon initially tried to block the request, but later handed over the data. A murder charge against the defendant was later dropped, but the speaker, smart home, and wearable data has figured into multiple cases since then. By the way, that's the opening bell for those that need to handle some business and move some stops. Let's continue. Earlier this month, Amazon said it had received more than 3,000 requests from police for user data in the first half of this year and compiled almost 2,000 times. That was a 72% increase in requests from the same period in 2016 when Amazon first disclosed the data, and a 24% jump in the past year alone. Amazon doesn't provide granular data on what police are seeking, but Douglas Orr, head of the Criminal Justice Department at the University of North Georgia, said police now look for smart home data as routinely as data from smartphones. Data on a smartphone often points officers toward other devices, which they then probe as the investigation continues. Yeah, you can thank the Internet of Things for that, because on your smartphone, you can actually group together all of your media. So on your smartphone, you have your email address on there, and then it can sync all of your devices across all domains. So you can sync up with all these with various apps, social media, everything. So basically so if the police ask for your cell phone, it's actually giving them access to everything, because everything is connected to the cell phone. See what I'm saying? Even your home device, your home speaker, if you will, because that's what they want to call them, speakers. All right. Now, by amending a search warrant, police can keep going to keep collecting data, Orr says. That usually leads to an Echo or at least some other device, of course. As Orr explains, officers are getting more savvy about smart home devices, creating templates that simplify requesting data. Police departments often share these templates, he says, tailoring requests for the specifics of the case they're investigating. Now, Google's Nest unit reported increasing police demands for data from its smart speakers through 2018. Google then stopped reporting Nest data separately, including such requests in its broader corporate transparency report, which shows increased requests for Google user data. Now, in their terms of service, Most major apps and websites include a clause warning users that companies may hand over their data if requested by the government. Law enforcement agencies file subpoenas or search warrants for data, detailing to judges what evidence they expect to find on the devices and how it may serve the investigation. Amazon and Google both notify users of a request for data unless the order itself forbids it. Any number of entities can request user data, but the companies say they prioritize requests based on urgency. So this is a key part. Even if you decide, hey man, I'm gonna throw my thing out the window. I don't want to use this Alexa anymore. That's fine, because guess what? All of your data, all of your usage info is backed up to their servers forever and can be recalled at any moment. Now, things like Homeland Security, they're going to take high priority, explains Lee Whitfield, a forensic analyst. Other law enforcement requests will come in under that. And then things like divorce cases or civil cases, they have a lower ranking. In an email statement, an Amazon spokesperson said the company objects to overbroad or otherwise inappropriate demands from law enforcement and referred Wired magazine to its policy on government requests. A Google spokesperson also referred them to its updated policy on requests. Forensic experts tell Wired that information from the device is valued because it can offer a timeline of a person's activities, their location, if they're alone, and can verify statements made during questioning. Remember what I told you, how they'll be able to track you in real time with audio and visual? Remember I told you, I warned you about that? Yeah, man. Yeah. That's some crazy stuff right there. Even if you take the battery out the phone, they can still use that joint. Yeah, man. You can turn the phone off. That don't mean nothing. But the batteries in there, they can just turn your phone back on remotely without you even knowing it. Well, I'll just take the battery out in the SIM card. Okay, you can do that. But everything that you've done up to that moment is still compartmentalized and kept on a database. It's really, really that simple. But now consider this. Consider a potential suspect who can't prove where they were at 11 p.m. on a Thursday because they live alone. Something as simple as ordering pizza through a speaker would show the time and location of the request, and if voice recognition is enabled, who made the request. Think about it, let that marinate. So you live alone. You can't prove where you were at 11 o'clock on Thursday, but you did order pizza. And since your device has voice recognition on it, it doesn't just show, well, someone did request pizza from this person's home, but it doesn't prove that it was you who ordered the pizza. Get it? But if you got voice recognition enabled on there, then it will prove that it was your voice, meaning that you were there and you ordered the pizza. So it can serve as an alibi now. All right. So your smart device is not just able to convict you of crime, but it can also serve as an alibi. Unless you're being set up and they conveniently say, oh, it wasn't recording at that time, or we lost those recordings. We had a glitch in our software. If someone's trying to, railroad you, they can also use that against you by just saying, oh, we don't know what happened to the information. Just like they do when situations arise. They say, oh, that camera wasn't working. The camera wasn't working. Oh, well, same thing. They can turn on or off these technologies if they really want to. If you don't believe me, go back and rewatch the movie The Net or Enemy of the State, and I think you'll understand very clearly what can and cannot be done with technology. And those movies were made years ago. Now, and in some cases, decades ago. Now, police increasingly rely on wearables and smart devices to verify the claims people make during an investigation, and sometimes the tools can reveal a lie. Now, Heather Mihalik, a forensic instructor, recalls a Florida case in which a man killed his wife, then tried to impersonate her. The husband sent texts and Facebook messages from his wife's phone in an attempt to blur the timeline of her disappearance. While the woman's phone activity continued, her Apple Watch showed a sudden drop in heart rate activity that the husband claimed was due to a dead battery. Activity on the man's phone synced perfectly with when he used the wife's phone to post to Facebook. Her phone showed no activity except for when the husband picked it up to post, with timestamps matching his activity to the use of his wife's phone. That is off the chain. She was wearing a smart watch that was monitoring, giving biofeedback. So now these smartwatches are giving biofeedback. If that's not an invasion of privacy, I don't know what is. It's biofeedback to a corporation. An Apple Watch is taking biofeedback, which can be used later in a court of law. Really? So this monitoring where you are with GPS isn't enough. You need biofeedback now? Good grief. Well, you see here, Your Honor, we have here on this digital device, it shows that the woman's heart rate had dropped tremendously. And if you take a look at this chart, Your Honor, you will see that over the past 90 days, her average heart rate was between this and this. And if you break it down to the time of day, you will see, Your Honor, that her heart rate was averaged at this time during this time of day. You can see here the sharp drop in heart rate activity, Your Honor. Well, her phone battery was dead. Well, Your Honor, you will see here that the phone battery was not dead. We have it here at 92% of battery life charging left in the battery at that time, Your Honor. So the husband's claims do not confirm it here without technology. Therefore, we will say that he is prevaricating, Your Honor. Wow. Brave new world. Brave new world. We were able to tell from his device that he would pick up the phone, take 18 steps, and it corresponded with the time he posted a Facebook post, Mihalik says. Connecting information from multiple devices is a common practice. Analysts say information on one device can suggest evidence on another. This ability to string together discoveries leads to what another expert calls a phased approach to digital forensics. We've given way to a new classification of discipline called digital forensics. In 1980, did you ever hear the word digital forensics? No. But you do now. They ask for something, the investigation moves along, they find something else interesting, and then they request the next thing. O'Toole, Crespo's lawyer, says police subpoenaed Crespo's social media accounts right away, then requested his voice recordings about 4 weeks later. Officers wrote in the search warrant that the speaker data may include audio recordings capturing the attack on victim Silva Crespo. Audio recording. So your device is recording you whether you realize it or not. Any smart device can be recording you. Any smart device with speaker can be recording you, from your phone to your tablet to your PC. Anything with a smart device on it, especially with speakers, can be recording you even when you're unaware. So you're getting audio recordings. And if you have anything that has a camera, the camera can be turned on and be recording you too without you being aware. Wow. O'Toole says he intends to introduce the smart speaker recordings in his client's favor via email. The spokesperson for Hallandale Beach Police confirmed the case was still active but did not provide further comment. O'Toole says smart speaker recordings are part of several cases he's working on, including a divorce in which a woman subpoenaed data from a smart speaker excuse me, that may have picked up the sounds of her husband with another woman. Good grief. Whitfield says police are becoming more savvy about the information in the smart speaker's activity logs. He recalls a case where police found drugs in a household with multiple residents. Officers identified a suspect after seizing data from a smart speaker. Its log not only listed recent queries related to drugs, but identified who spoke them. Google and Amazon speakers let users create profiles so the devices recognize their individual voices. This information helped police identify the suspect. I just don't see this going away, Whitfield says. I think this is going to be more and more prolific as time goes on. You don't say. Whitfield is right. It will never go away. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in again. All right? You can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You just can't. Advertisement of these technological devices as a tool for convenience was a manipulative tactic to introduce technological devices for their real purpose, which is tracking, monitoring, and recording of citizens so that no action, no matter how small, goes unnoticed. We are already living in a surveillance state, and it's only going to get worse. Once begun, the bell cannot be unrung. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There you have it. You are being monitored. You are being recorded every minute, every second of every day. And there's not a darn thing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. It's too late. It's too late. If you own a smart device, it's already happening to you. And there's no way to get from around it. All right, so the next question will be, how is the presidential election shaping up in this Rocktober, and what does it mean for these financial markets? I know you're asking the question. I know you gotta be. Excuse me, if you have a pulse and you're not hiding under a rock, you have to ask what's happening. Well, just remember, 2016 rules still apply to these markets. All right, there's no getting around it. They still apply. What does that mean? Trump victory is bullish for the stock market. If Trump wins, the bull market will come back to life. And we have not seen the highs, ladies and gentlemen. 2016 will, I'm sorry, I said 2016. 2021 will be smoking hot, way hotter than 2020 as far as equity prices go. All right. To the moon and beyond, we will go. You need to understand that. If Biden wins the White House, the stock market is going to collapse straight up. Everyone who is wealthy or a person of means will be getting out of the U.S. as much as possible, and there will be a flight to safety. People will be moving money into whatever country or whatever situation they can put their money in to protect their livelihood, because they understand that with communism, the government comes and takes everything. They own it all. You're not allowed to be an entrepreneur. You're not allowed to make money. And if you make too much money, the government will just tax you more and more and more in order to prop up all of its social programs. You don't have a choice. You will pay. That's how it's designed. Oh, you will pay. And if you don't like it, so what? There's nothing you can do about it. Not a thing you can do about it. That's how they get down. That's how they roll. And you guys need to understand that. You need to know this. You need to know this. Okay? It will not be all well with you. And I think that the 1%, they know that all too well. And others, who are paying attention, they know, they realize that. They know what this is. They do. They know what this is. So they're not going to allow themselves to be ganked any further. They're going to remove their money, and they may even physically move out of the states as well. And they said, we're taking our money with us, and we're out of here. People are already leaving expensive cities. There's already a flight out of the expensive cities. Any place where the cost of living is super high, those individuals are moving out because they have the means to do so. They're not going to just stand there and just let the government tax them to death. Are you crazy? No, you're not going to take all their fortune, because that's what you're doing. It's a redistribution of wealth. You're taking from those that have, and you're forcefully giving it to the have-nots. And the people don't have a say. That's called theft. If you went into a bank right now and robbed that bank, you are going to prison for a very long time. But when the government does it, when the government comes and breaks into your home at gunpoint and robs you of your wealth and your money and gives it to your neighbor, that's called redistribution of wealth. It's not called robbery. All right. So there is a double standard already in existence. If the government does it, it's redistribution of wealth. If you do it, it's robbery. That is a double standard. If anything, the government should be held to a higher standard, not a double standard. But that's what we got. All right. We have a double standard. That double standard is not going anywhere. It's only going to get worse. You need to know that. You need to understand that. Redistribution of wealth is what this system is about. All right? Because when everyone has, then no one will have. You think it's about equality? There's no such thing as equality. There's no such thing as equality. Because if everyone's equal, then no one's equal. There will always be someone more equal than someone else. In that scenario, when a government is telling you we want equality, we want to make everyone equal, what they're saying is we will make all of the citizenry equal, but we, the government, will be more equal. That's what that breaks down to. If you look throughout history, that is how tyrannical governments move. That's how they're run. And no, you do not have a say. You don't get to say anything. It only appears that you have the ability to vote, but you really don't. You vote the way they tell you to vote, or you don't vote at all. That's really what it boils down to. You will do what they want you to do. You will do what they tell you to do, or face the consequences therein. Who does not truly understand that by now is someone who is not paying attention. Because that is where we are. This is the world that we are living in right now, people. And again, it's not going anywhere. It's not going away. It is not going away. It will not go away. You cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube once it is out. So there's something to think on today. Something to think about as far as how far down the road we are. And we are down that road pretty far, ladies and gentlemen. So the time to make this work for you, because at the end of the day, you're still going to need money. You're going to need money. Do you want to be limited with the money that they want to give you? Or do you want to have your own money so that you're not beholden to the state for survival? The only way to do that is to have your own money. But how are you going to have your own money when they're taking your jobs away? Oh, yeah. They're taking the jobs away. They're going to say, don't worry about a job. They know there's no jobs coming for you. For the majority of people, there are no jobs coming, and they know that. The only jobs that will exist will be computer programming type jobs. If you can't program, if you can't code, you're basically not going to have a job, because they don't need you to do those other menial jobs. That's what they have the robots for. That's what they have artificial intelligence for. So a lot of people are going to be pushed out of the labor force altogether anyway, because their skills are becoming obsolete. The majority of jobs are becoming obsolete. And that's just the way it is. Obsolete. You are obsolete. Pretty much every blue collar job will have a machine to do it within the next few years. And they're not stopping there. They're even cutting into white collar now. White collar is going to have artificial intelligence running it too. And you may say, well, I'm a doctor. I always have a job. Not so fast, sir. Artificial intelligence can do your job as well. Already in the works. And so they're not going to need you either, doctor. Not going to need doctors. Well, I'm a surgeon, so they're always going to need me to cut. I'm a cut, so they need me. Not so fast. They're already piloting these sophisticated machines around the world who are doing surgeries. They have robots to perform surgery. That's right, robots to perform surgery. You think it's a joke? It's not a joke. Just about every job you can think of, just about, is replaceable with a robot or some type of artificial intelligence. That's just what it is. All right, so as far as the whole COVID thing, this is another thing you guys need to think about. And I said it last week. Isn't it convenient that with all the chaos and the coming up presidential election, it's looking like the president, is turning the corner. We know that the president and the first lady both tested positive for coronavirus, and all these people are starting to come down with coronavirus. But notice how it's mostly Republican based. I haven't heard of any Democrats coming down with coronavirus. If I'm wrong, y'all can correct me in the live chat if you know of leading Democrats that have come down with coronavirus. To my understanding, it's only been Republicans. So again, isn't this convenient? Isn't this convenient, ladies and gentlemen? All right, it's convenient. And if the president, God forbid, does not make it through this coronavirus, would you say then who's responsible? How did they allow the most powerful leader in the world, in the free world, come down with the coronavirus? Now, I will tell you, there has been plenty of footage of the president giving, speeches, whatever, answering questions, press conferences, and not everyone around them are always wearing masks. And not just him. There were times, I remember Nancy Pelosi was speaking and didn't have a mask on. So how is it that all these other people can walk around with no mask on, but the president does, and now he's sick? Well, he's old. He's not as old as Nancy Pelosi and some of the other politicians. So if you keep it 100, you'll see that, again, this is very convenient. Now, regardless of where you think the virus came from, the public media outlets want you to believe that it came from China. So then if he dies from the coronavirus, are the history books going to be written to say that the Chinese government took out a sitting U.S. president with the virus? Again, you got to draw things out to their logical conclusions. You say that the virus came out of Wuhan, China. You say it was manufactured and created in a lab in China. Therefore, if it takes out the president, China killed the president. China removed Trump. That's what you would be saying. Now, here's something you don't know behind the scenes. You got to get past the political theater to see what's really going on. If Trump is good for the stock market, which he has been, the only way that they derailed the rally in the stock market temporarily is with the introduction of the coronavirus pandemic. If there were no coronavirus pandemic, the Dow would be trading over 30,000 right now. But the pandemic put a pause in it. It didn't change anything. It just put a pause in the rally. Look how much the market has come back already since March, the March lows. All right. So again, how convenient that they have tried everything in their power to dethrone the sitting president. And this is their last ditch effort. And that's using the coronavirus. Because see, then you can't really technically blame anyone. Oh, he just caught a virus. He got sick. He died. Instead of assassinating him with bullets, they want to assassinate with a virus. Just something to think about. Again, who benefits from the coronavirus? You guys need to understand that. Trump is good for the market. All right. It's all about appearances and perceptions. China has invested billions, if not trillions of dollars here in the States. Although the Chinese government is communist, the Chinese government is also capitalist because the Chinese government has invested a lot of money in the US. So they benefit by the bull market in the US. They want to see the equity markets continue to climb because they benefit financially. Most wealthy nations have money put here in the States in the markets. Therefore, the world benefits from a bullish stock market. China does not benefit from a bear market in the US because then they take a bath. All right. They know that if Trump loses and the Democrats take over, it will no longer be a bull market and they will start losing money and they're going to start redistribution of wealth, which means they're going to start taking money away from those that have it and giving it to those that don't have it. And they will start taking it by force and they will start taking it by way of taxation. So people will start pulling their money out of the market. You don't have to be worried about the retail investors. You need to be concerned about the overseas investors. If China and other countries start pulling out of the US simultaneously, that will collapse the country. And the Democrats will have no one to blame but themselves because they want to introduce communism. Communism is not a money-making government. It's a totalitarian government. If every country in the world became communist overnight, the entire world would be thrown into poverty. Capitalism is the engine that brings wealth to the individual. Take away capitalism, no wealth for the individual. Under communism, the individual is not allowed to thrive. Just understand that. Socialism / communism, fascism, whatever ism you want to put on it, it's still an ism. And guess what? That is your one-way ticket to poverty. So you might as well start getting comfortable with it. Although say, I hate Trump, I hope he dies. What you're saying, when you say you hate Trump, what you're saying is you hate capitalism because you have not prospered in it, because you have not taken advantage, full advantage of all the advantages that capitalism has provided for you. So you blame your failure and your laziness and your non-existent work ethic on those that have one. So you want everyone to come down to your level, but understand when they come down to your level, then everyone, including yourself, becomes even poorer. You don't want to take away the capitalism because what are you going to replace it with? Capitalism equals economic prosperity. So if you take away economic prosperity, what is the opposite of economic prosperity? Economic ruin. Well, no, because redistribution of wealth, everyone has. No, when you redistribute wealth, no one has. Because where's the wealth coming from if you take it away from those that have it? Those that have the wealth are the ones that employ you, dummy. It's the people that employ people who don't have. The way you, quote unquote, redistribute wealth, which is a horrible idea to take by force from someone to give to another. The way that you participate in the capitalistic structure is through employment primarily. If you take away the means of employing people, then you have unemployment. The opposite of employment is unemployment. When you destroy the mom and pops who provide the majority of the jobs in this world, now you have a jobless society. Now you have to depend on handouts from your government. The government was never created to make money. Governments are not supposed to be in the business of making money. They're supposed to be in the business of governance, protecting people, protecting borders, protecting personal and private property. Once you bring in the fascism to its logical conclusion, which equals communism, socialism, you take away private property. Under communism, socialism, there is no private property. So for all you guys that own real estate, say goodbye to your real estate, because the government's going to come and take that. You're not allowed to own nothing under those structures. Because remember, you said you want to redistribute the wealth. Well, then you're not allowed but to have so much. If you have more than what the government deems you're allowed to have, they take it from you and redistribute it. You need to understand that. Okay? All right? You need to understand that. And that's what you have. Fascism is the merger of corporate and government. That is what communist is. Communism. The government owns the corporations, the companies. The government owns it. That's fascism. You need to understand these things. Like I said, for those of you that do not understand basic economics, I suggest you get the book Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell. You want to learn about economics, get his book. Get his book. He will explain it to you. He will school you on economics, practical economics, theoretical economics, basic economics, advanced economics. He has a book on economic fallacies. He has a book on advanced economics. You need all three of those books. Get Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell, Advanced Economics by Thomas Sowell, and Economic Fallacies by Thomas Sowell. You read those three books and then come back to me and tell me which is the better system. Because he goes into depth. He breaks down and analyzes every system. And then you can come to your own conclusions. It's not my job to argue it for you. It's your job to educate yourself and read. Because I cannot debate or have a conversation with someone who doesn't understand basic economic theory. If you don't understand economics, then we can't talk. If you haven't read those three books, we can't talk. You got to do your homework first. Then we can talk. All right. With that being said, y'all know what it is. PulseWaveTrading.com. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I'm out. Peace.